Yep, you read the title right. These are the last Pow Pow designs. Kind of. Before starting Pow Pow World officially, I wanted to have a decent number of designs created before I committed to this creature collector project. So a lot of these designs that I have been presenting have been sitting for a long time waiting in my Pow Pow design reserve. And I haven't always presented them in a chronological order either, since some Pow Pow lines started with designs that are a couple years old but then get new evolutions recently due to this becoming a creature collector concept. Also, since I had a lot of designs in the reserve, I was able to pair certain Pow Pow designs to be presented together if they fit a common theme for the video. But for the most part, I have been presenting them in a somewhat of a chronological order. Today, I will be showing off the last two Pow Pow lines I have in my design reserve, so let's get into it. This Pow Pow originally started off as an attempt to make an ice-type Pow Pow. Thinking of animals that live in snowy regions, I instantly thought of one of my favorites, Japanese macaques, aka snow monkeys. I mean, these little guys are so cute, the way they bathe and hang out in hot springs. I knew I had to design a Pow Pow that would do the same in Pow Pow World. So I started with a baby monkey that had round shapes that resembled that of a snowman. He wasn't reading monkey to me, so I explored an alternative route, but I kinda came around to how odd it looked and I didn't want to go so on the nose with the monkey elements anyway. I think once I rounded out the arms, added the nose, and changed its mouth expression, it started to come together. It also started to read as a little monkey slash yeti creature, which I think is the perfect mix of what I was going for here. Monsen, the hot spring Pow Pow. Monsen have thick fur that keeps them well insulated and protected from the harsh cold. They can often be found hanging around springs, which they warm up with the heat that radiates from their bodies. Other Pow Pow love being around Monsen to help keep themselves warm in the cold. While I did set out to make an ice type Pow Pow, it didn't feel right giving it the ice type because its abilities are actually more fire related. It just happens to be a fire type living in a snowy habitat. It kinda reminds me of how some fans think certain Pokemon should be water types because they live in the ocean. I've never been a fan of that line of thinking, so I don't want to do that here. So as cool as the ice fire type would be for this Pow Pow, it doesn't quite click for me. But I am open to being convinced because it would kinda be a cool typing. Also, I think I accidentally leaked Monsen's design a while back via a time-lapse of another Pow Pow design video, and some people were able to catch it with their Sharingan. Monsen of course needed an evolution, but I honestly had no direction starting out. I was again in that situation where I don't really have a concept, so I just started trying to make it bigger. I did this doodle of an ape covered in steam, which I think feels like an appropriate level up from our little bathing monkey. The main thing that pushed me to choose this doodle is the steam elements that covered the ape. I'm a sucker for monster designs that have some kind of element that is on the creature and is alive in a way, which is why I love a lot of fire type Pokemon. It just makes the creature look epic and powerful to me. Plus, I am a sucker for those swirly cloud shapes. I definitely use it more than I should, but it just always looks so cool to me. One of the major things I needed to address in this initial doodle is the face. This Pow Pow definitely should have a mouth, so I needed to have a face that better showed that. It's important that in the key art, no major element of the design should be hidden. The initial face expression I gave it lent itself to a sort of stoic and quiet-natured personality, so the first few face explorations I did started there. I wasn't really getting anywhere, so when I'm stuck, I like to move on to something else to push the design forward. So in this case, I colored it, which helped me realize that this Pow Pow really needed a much stronger face. I tried to take more inspiration from gorillas with much heavier brows and a much more menacing face. I think this was definitely the right call, and I like the personality of it. I eventually land on a face that is kind of a mix of gorilla and baboon, which I think works pretty well. But something was still missing from the design. I messed around with the face for a while longer until I finally stumbled upon the real problem: the proportions. This kind of face warranted a more gorilla-sized body, I think, so I went ahead and stretched him out wide. And whoa, did that make a difference. These proportions fit his face so much better and gave his design a lot more character than the generic steaming ape it was before. I went ahead and continued rendering and adjusting as needed, but the design was pretty much set from there. Saunape, the steaming fist Pow Pow. Saunape delivers scorching hot blows with his two giant fists. The heat produced by Saunape is so hot that it instantly turns any incoming water attacks into steam. Saunape are only recommended for expert scouts, since Saunape often have a very hot-headed disposition. I'm really glad I pushed myself on this line. It's pretty simple in the grand scheme of things, just a gorilla with some steam, but I think the design goes far with its simplicity. I like that this is my first top-heavy design, since a lot of my other thick Pow are more bottom-heavy, since it does tend to be my bias when designing. Also, after staring at the design on and off, I realized it kind of reminds me of a certain One Piece character. If you know, you know. Which I think is fun, but wasn't at all intentional. But yeah, I really like this design. Really interested if it's as appealing to others as it is to me, since it has a lot of elements I personally enjoy, like monkey, swirly swirls, fire type, and big fist. Now, let's get into the next Pow line. It's another 3-stager, and I think it's a pretty strong design at that. So for this line, I had a general plan on where I wanted to go with it, which is actually pretty rare for me. I'd usually make one design and then figure out later the rest of its line. Because I had a concept and a general idea to start, I think the finished line came out pretty cohesive. These rough doodles are not far off from the finished design, just rougher around the edges. The general concept of this line is guardian lions as lawn ornaments. But I'll speak more on that later and why I chose that in the next few designs. In an ideal world, all my designs would follow this path. They should all be designed simultaneously to ensure that they work together rather than on top of one another, if that makes sense. But I'm pretty go with the flow with my process since it's more fun for me that way. Anyway, this line starts with a little bush cat. I imagine it could lay on people's lawns or in the forest and nap without being disturbed since it blends in so well with the surrounding shrubbery. Bushnap, the sleeping hedge Pow. These Pow can be difficult to find since they camouflage so perfectly with the forest brush. In this form, they will spend most of their time sleeping to gain the strength to evolve. I think this design does its job well and fits the style I've set up so far for first stage Pow of a 3-stage line, being a sort of compact and very simple design for the most part. That being said, I don't actually love the design myself. I think the design is solid, but I'm open to critiques since I'm not entirely sold on it. But kinda like Walrustar, I have a feeling people might like it and it might just be a my bias situation again. But this next stage, I am crazy about. So for this design, I pretty much loved it from the initial sketch. I thought it was so cute and I personally never thought I could pull off an afro-ish shaped mane for this cub, but I think it turned out so cute. Generally, I was shooting for a chubby, cute cat with bush-like elements. One that would transition to a fearsome and elegant lion. And I think this middle form sets the stage for the fearsome evolution quite well. The biggest hurdle I had was that front paw. I did that signature pose a lot of Pokemon do when they put up one lid just to keep the key art from not looking so still. Plus it shows the pink toe beans, which I think adds to the color distribution of the design a bit. Posing and perspective are both super weak spots of mine, but hopefully I landed it well enough where it's not too distracting and takes away from the design. Probably isn't helping that I'm calling all this attention to it now, but oh wells. But other than trying to figure out the pose and playing with the eyes a bit, the design remained pretty faithful to the initial doodle. Shrubcub, the hedge mane Pow. These Pow are very friendly. They tend to their mane constantly to ensure that the flowers in them will bloom someday. All in all, I love this design. I'm starting to notice that I have a strong love for the middle stage Pow designs. They're very me and the type of designs I love to draw. Third stages are definitely the toughest to design, but are some of the most rewarding. So let's get into the line's third and final stage. As you can tell, the final stage is based on Chinese guardian lions. These lions actually have been adopted by many other Asian countries as well, hence why you've probably seen many variants of them from all different types of cultures. Growing up, I always loved these strong and menacing creatures. But at the same time, I thought they were sort of cute since they often were made from stone and had this sort of cubish round shapes to them. The inspiration for this whole line actually came about because me and my partner started jogging around our neighborhood. While jogging, I noticed that so many of the houses we passed by would have these guardian lion statues on their front lawns. They would be placed within shrubs and hedges, and I thought they would make a great combination of elements for a Pow. A cute little bush that would eventually turn into a powerful lion that is capable of protecting against any kind of enemy. I actually have made my own take on a guardian lion once before for my Otherworld Sweet Dreams, but its design was not applicable here, and I also wanted to push myself to do a different take on a guardian lion design. For this design, it was pretty straightforward. just take the mane and fur parts and turn them into bushes with flowers. So most of the design work really came down to the stylization of the Guardian Lion inspirations to give it that Pow Pow world feel. Planthera, the hedge guardian Pow Pow. This regal looking Pow Pow has been revered by people for centuries. The flowers Planthera shed are used to make ceremonial necklaces for important occasions. I'm really happy with the final evolution. I think it looks ferocious but also cute in a way. I think the flowers help balance out its intimidating fangs and facial expression. It's another design with the swirly swirls, so you know I'm a sucker for it. This design does rest heavily on the fact that Guardian Lions just already look super cool, but hopefully I've done enough here to give it its own identity and appeal. I really love the progression from Shrubcub to Planthera, but I wonder if Bushnap sticks out too much being all bush. I could also see Bushnap, the first stage, being swapped for the middle stage Evo, being kind of like a Shelgon or Pupitar in their respective evolution lines when they are sort of like in the weird pupa stage part of the line. I've always liked that about their evolutionary lines, but don't know if that would work here with their current designs. Pretty open on that, so let me know if you have opinions on it. Overall, I'm really happy when I can give each stage its own distinct look while still having them be connected. One of my biggest concerns is having Pow Pow look too similar to their evolutions, but so far I don't think that's been a problem. So what do you think about the 5 Pow Pow revealed today? I really love these designs, especially Shrubcub. He has a lot of potential mascot energy, even though I'm really attached to Thief though. But yeah, be sure to let me know how you feel about these designs, and any sort of feedback is welcome. And like the title suggests, these are our last 5 Pow Pow. For now anyways. Like I mentioned, these are the last designs I have in my reserve. The most recent design, Planthera, was created 3 months ago, which is pretty recent compared to a lot of my other designs, which can vary from anywhere between 6 months to 2 years old. So, what does this mean for Pow Pow World? Well, it means I won't be able to release videos as fast anymore, since I'll also have to divide more of my time towards working on Pow Pow designs, which I wasn't doing that much of before. I may try to weave in some other videos that don't involve Pow Pow designs, such as lore videos, or maybe even Pokemon tier list videos, since that's always something I kinda wanted to do. But I still haven't decided if that's the kind of content I want mixed in on my channel. But yeah, basically all Pow Pow released up to this point, I like to refer to as Wave 1. For Wave 2, I haven't really decided if I should create a whole batch of Pow Pow designs before releasing videos like with Wave 1, or if I should make and release videos as the designs get made. But I'll figure it out. Just wanted to think out loud here since I'm always open to thoughts and discussions, and just wanted to share some of the thoughts I have about the project. Overall, I am really thankful for the support I've received on Pow Pow World so far. There's still so much to be explored, and I hope you'll continue exploring the world with me. So, thanks so much for watching, and I will see ya next time.